All right, let's get it.
Scotch, bourbon, and rye, yeah, we on that whiskey. Wanna discuss an array of topics, conversation simply. Gonna drop your whiskey bars with the sip hitting for. Could you pass it, you want more? Another glass, let it flow. A steady pour. A steady pour. Yeah, a steady pour. A steady pour of growing, a steady pour of sharing, a steady pour of knowing. Now pass that Glencairn. So pull up a chair, grab a glass, and enjoy a melanin-infused perspective with a whiskey twist.
Before we get into this episode, just wanted to give you some context. Back in fall 2024, we got invited out to do a barrel pick with OJ Lima of Taste Select Repeat at Jack Daniel's Distillery in Tennessee. The barrel pick was led by none other than Byron Copeland, the master taster himself, and we had a great time, and we got the chance to do an interview with him. The interview was supposed to drop when the bottles arrived, but unfortunately, like most great bottles, they never made its final destination.
So with that being said, we had such a great time doing the interview, and the barrel process that Byron facilitated for us was such a unique experience. We were really looking forward to sharing that experience with you. Mm-hmm. So, without further ado, enjoy the episode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, a steady pour.
Yes, sir. We here, y'all. Welcome to another episode of a Steady Pour podcast. I'm your pour coach, Drew.
Calvin, Tony.
And we are your co-hosts.
And we are also missing Darius.
And we are missing Darius. And we're on the road.
Yes.
We on the road. We out in the streets.
We are in the streets. So don't mind the echo a little bit. This room is pretty echoey.
Yeah, a little bit. But we're here in Tennessee, y'all. And where else can we be in Tennessee than Lynchburg? Here at the Jack Daniel's Distillery.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
And we have two special guests with us. First, we have Jack Daniel's. We have Byron Copeland with us. He's the barrel maturation manager and master taster here at Jack Daniel's Distillery. Yes. And then we're here with our partner. Y'all familiar with him. OJ Lima.
The juice.
The juice is loose.
Turn my headphones up.
Owner of Taste Select Repeat.
Hey.
OJ, welcome.
Thank
Byron,
you.
welcome. We happy to have you here, or should I say thank you for having us.
Thank y'all for having me. Absolutely.
Nah,
fun
man.
day.
Yeah, you're catching us at the tail end of a wonderful experience here at Jack Daniel's. I must say, I knew it was a huge distillery. I knew that anything could happen here. Mm-hmm. But shout out to OJ for definitely bringing us out here to do this barrel pick with them. And connecting us with Byron to lead us through that barrel pick, because we had a dope time.
Yeah,
we had a dope 100%. Time, and we're gonna talk through that a little bit more. But for right now, Tone, give us what your favorite part so far of the tour was.
Of the tour?
Oh,
Before
everything
we even got to the barrel pick.
experience. Of the experience.
I mean, it was just no holds barred. Like, we got to go everywhere, see whatever we wanted to see. Got some some slushies before, like right as we walked in. Basically, it was like, "You want these Jack Daniel's slushies?" I was like, "Sure."
I'm gonna say no.
But yeah, just getting to see behind the scenes, see where everything goes on. I mean, it really is. Everything is here since the distillery started, which is like crazy to think about, right?
Right.
It's been around for so long, so you really do feel the history and like everything going on here. And then getting to do a barrel pick at Jack Daniel's is just
Pretty awesome.
excellent. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. OJ, this was your first time, second time.
Second time.
Second time here?
Yep.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to be called O'Darius.
R.I.P.
Right, from a fallen soldier who couldn't be here today. I got you, my guy. I know you up in Harlem right now. I got you up here.
No.
I'm here for you. Filling in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my second time here. First time we came, I want to say it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Tennessee whiskey and the rye, and this time we did the barrel proof Tennessee whiskey. So I was excited to come back and do that. Something I hadn't done in my career. one of the few barrel picks I hadn't done in my career I really wanted to do, so I was happy to be able to check it off the list.
Nice.
Awesome. Now, what about you? This is your first time, right?
Yes, definitely my first time at Jack Daniel's, and oddly enough, the right now the most memorable part is the food afterwards. That is weighing real heavy on my soul.
Miss Mary Bobo.
Oh man, they hooked it up. They hooked up the platters. But other than that, I honestly I really liked the filtration system. I really like being able to see how it all goes through, and how much of a slow drip and a process. They don't try to rush anything.
Take their time with it.
Yeah, I really like.
Yeah, the charcoal mellowing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and I like,
And then making their own charcoal, like the whole process
crazy.
of the filtration is pretty good.
And so for me, it was the barrel pick process, but also getting the chemistry lesson, which I know about tylosis.
Tylosis is
What y'all know?
is in my book with an underline. Things
Not
to-
halitosis, tylosis.
You gotta tell them who told you about that.
Yeah, exactly. So now,
I think chemistry
now I'm giving it to Byron. How long have you been here at Jack Daniel's Distillery, and how did you get up to being the master taster, the barrel manager?
All right, so I think I was telling y'all that yesterday was my 9-year anniversary with Jack Daniel's as a whole. And in 2015, I started working at the distillery, at the cooperage, Jack Daniel's cooperage in Alabama, in Trinity, Alabama, and that's where we make the barrels. And that facility was started in 2014. I came in 2015. And just keep in mind, all of those barrels that we made were shipped here to the distillery. And I think, as I told y'all, I worked in every department in that cooperage. So literally, if you take apart a barrel, I worked in every part of it. And I finished off being over the outside or over the maturation part of making the barrel. So when I look at a barrel, I literally think about whiskey. When you see a barrel out there at Lowe's or wherever you see a barrel, if it has a J on it, then that means that it came from Jack Daniel's Cooperage in Trinity, Alabama. And a lot of people don't know that, so y'all just got the inside on that. If it's a J on the rivets, came from Alabama.
Wow.
That was pretty special for me, leading teams that made every part of the barrels. Fast forward to 2020, I was selected by Uncle Nearest and Jack Daniels. So the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative was created in 2020, and that was to help promote diversity in the whiskey industry. And I was the first one selected for one of the pillars. And I don't think I told y'all this, but it was 3 pillars, right? So one of the pillars was the Leadership Acceleration Program, which I was selected for. The second pillar was the Motlow School of Distilling, which Motlow Community College is right down the road, and we're supposed to have a School of Distilling there. And the other was a business incubation program. So it's 3 pillar, and I was selected for one of those. And that kind of sent me on a different trajectory in my career. So I left the cooperage. I was able to move my office here, learn about distillation, but even going further, learning about everything. So learning about distillation, maturation, fermentation, everything that goes into making whiskey. But that coupled that with my making of the barrels, I'm telling you, it's a whirlwind. But even to go a little further, and just to tell y'all a little bit, so I was able to go to different distilleries just outside of Brown-Forman. So Brown-Forman, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, they opened their doors to me. I was able to go and learn about making whiskey. Going to our headquarters there in the innovation there. The chemistry lab there at Brown-Forman. So I think I told y'all that part, just going to the New York Stock Exchange, being able to spend time with the CFO, the CEO of the company, and understand why we're doing what we're doing, why we're making this many barrels, why we're buying this many grains, everything that encompasses from grain to bottle. So learning everything about making whiskey. So my title now, you said it is Barrel Maturation Manager and Master Taster, but I'm also a brand ambassador. I'm also on the Innovation Council. I'm also just a plethora of things that I get a chance to do, which is pretty cool.
That sounds like an awesome program. Did you always wanted to be in the whiskey industry? Was that like something that you always wanted to do?
That's a great question. Did I always want to be a whiskey industry? I think I told you earlier, whiskey brings people together. Spirits in general bring people together if it's done in the right way, right? If it's done responsibly, it's done. If it's done in the right way, it brings people together. I can remember when I was a little kid, my grandmother was we used to call it a bootlegger. Okay. A lot of people think that bootleggers are the ones that's making whiskey in the hills, but if you're from where I'm from, in Birmingham and in Atlanta, I was raised in both of those. Bootleggers mean you went to them and you kind of sat in there and you had community. Bootleggers, you can go on Sundays when nobody else was selling whiskey and selling beer, and you can go to the bootlegger's house and you can be part of the community. And it brought people together.
So like the host, the speakeasy.
Yeah, a shot house. Oh, boy, I don't even want to say that. But you call it a shot house or whatever you want to call it, speakeasy, whatever it was. That little neighborhood in Birmingham, Alabama, which is in Fairfield, Alabama. My grandmother had people over to her home all the time, and it's so funny to where I thought. This is a true story. I thought a lot of people growing up in that neighborhood were my family members. And matter of fact, when I got grown and married and kids and stuff, I would go to the funerals of some of those people that nicknamed me. And this is the first time people are hearing this on the podcast, or hearing this in general. So I had a lot of nicknames.
Exclusive.
Yeah, Short Legs was one of them. Was given to me by one of my grandmothers, one of the people that came around. This was funny though, y'all. The Meat Man was enough because I love bacon and stuff. So Meat Man was enough. So these are all people that were. These are not my family members, but these were. Yeah, I know.
You got the meat.
I was about to say. What was the pause on that? But these are people that were instrumental in my life. And the older I got, I went to their funerals. And even when I was growing up, I thought they were my family members. But these are all people that came around from where my mother grew up, where my father grew up in Fairfield, Alabama. They all came to my grandmother's house, and it was just a place of community, place to bring people together.
Chosen family.
Yeah. So when I was seeing my grandmother pour Jack Daniels, I was seeing my grandmother pour, other spirits. Did I think I would ever end up in the spirits industry? No. It just happened full circle. But it's a great place to be because guess what? I get a chance to bring people together. I get a chance to meet people around the world. I've always looked at myself as a ladder. I, pull people up or a bridge to bring people together. So I feel like I'm in the right industry.
Nice. So with that being said, what was the first whiskey that you were like, oh, this is...
I'm about to go to PR.
I like it. I mean, I guess the easy answer would be Jack Daniels, right? But let's.
Experimenting with, with whiskeys at, in my early 20s and not just whiskeys, but vodkas and gins and all those things. Experimenting with those. Whew. That's what I want to say. I'm not going to say the word. I'm not going to say what it was. Okay. But some of those things I was experimenting with, I don't feel like I had a passion for it. It was just me and my friends just doing, just having fun. Right. So there was no passion behind it. I think I even told y'all when I was 9 years ago when I was grabbing a bottle off the shelf, it was literally grabbing something that I thought, just tasted good or it was going to bring fun. It wasn't until 9 years ago until where I figured out, it's something that goes into making this stuff. It's something that goes into making, and at that time, Jack Daniels, because I just started working at the cooperage, but it's something that goes into that. And it wasn't just me learning about Jack Daniels. It's something that goes into making all spirits that I think all consumers should really dive into before you just go grab some off the shelf. And when you think about all the flavors and the nuances of bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, vodka, even gin, how it's made. I'm always curious and always want to share about those things. So, So I won't tell you what I first tasted because that's embarrassing.
I don't even know this about you. What was the first? Whiskey.
OJ.
I used to be a gin tonic drinker for a long time. The first time I drank whiskey was was Maker's Mark. That was the first one that.
It's the gateway.
Well, she had a good answer. See, mine was gonna be bad. So mine was
Boone's Farm.
Oh, some of those. Keep going. Keep naming.
Mad Dog.
Keep naming. No, I didn't want to say. I ain't saying yes or no, but I'm just telling you it was.
It's a true story from the bottom.
Yeah. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying. I'm saying more no than yes, but yeah, somewhere.
You know. Do you mind if I ask a question?
Sure.
The one thing we didn't ask you today. I don't know how this went over our head was how you started at the cooperage, because you're really the first person in all my years of doing this. You're the first person I met who was like, oh yeah, my intro to the industry was I made barrels.
Right.
True.
It's funny that you say that. A lot of people say that. So sometimes when I say I made barrels, I started at a cooperage. It's kind of surprising to me too. So just go back a little bit. When I graduated from Morehouse College. Shout out to my college, Morehouse, man. Shout out to
Just
Morehouse.
went to the classic house.
Hey, yeah, Howard and Morehouse. Spell House. Yeah, so when I graduated Morehouse, I did, I worked at a few odd companies per se. My real job was working at Target Distribution Center.
Okay.
My first real job, Target Distribution Center in South Georgia. And I worked there in South Georgia for about 3 years. And I was on my way to getting promoted, but I was like, no, I want to get back close to Atlanta, get back close to, my home. And closer to Birmingham, because my grandmother was still alive and well. And I had aunties and uncles and everybody in Birmingham, Alabama. And I said, well, I just transferred there. And I transferred to Target Distribution Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
And I worked there for 2010, I think, 2010 to 2000. So I spent about 7 or 8 years at Target Distribution. Fast forward, I had a buddy of mine that said, hey, I want you to come work with me in Virginia. Lo and behold, this company was called Sabra Hummus. Okay. If y'all had hummus before, Sabra is the biggest name that's on Sabra is the biggest name that's on hummus. So he said, hey, I want you to come up here and run my facilities. So it was outbound, inbound, and I was like, okay. But anyway, I went to Sabra. Sabra was a tough job. Sabra was owned by an Israeli company and Frito-Lay.
Okay.
And so it was almost a startup at that time, but you had a language barrier, and but some of the best people I've met, some of my Israeli friends worked there at Sabra with me. But anywho, so I wanted to get back to the South, and I said, well, I got to get back to Huntsville. And guess what? I was coming back, and I was like, I'm gonna apply for jobs. And I saw this job. It said Jack Daniel Cooperage. Nah, I didn't know what a cooperage was. I was like, I don't know what the world is a cooperage. I didn't know. And I saw it, and I said, well, I know the name Jack Daniels. I mean, we know that brand. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that'd be cool to work for Jack Daniels. But it said Cooperage, Jack Daniels Cooperage. And it said manufacturing. And I had already been in distribution and some jobs in manufacturing and all those things. And I applied in 2015. September 2015.
Nice.
Yeah, September 2015. Wow. September 15, 2015.
Wow.
I got hired for Jack Daniel Cooperage. And it changed the name now, so just a caveat that it's no longer Jack Daniel Cooperage. But I got hired, and that's what brought me to the industry. I was so excited to get to this place. I mean, the brand in itself, right? It was one of the most recognized brands in the world, and to see that name, Jack Daniel Cooperage, that's what brought me to the whiskey industry. And I can remember the interview and being hired, and they said, hey, we need you to come in and help with this facility and galvanize the team. And I've always, like I said, that struck with me. I was like, wait a minute, me come in and help galvanize the team. I mean, that's something I'm passionate about. I already told y'all the ladder and the bridge, and that's how I got into the industry. Good question, OJ.
When did the leadership acceleration program come into play? Was that after you were already there at the cooperage, and then you found out about that?
Yeah, so I spent 5 years at the cooperage. 5 years leading different teams. I led, so if you break down a barrel, the heads, the staves, the hoops, the toasting, the charring. I left off leading teams that was over the maturation or seasoning of the wood that's on the outside. For those of you that's listening that know what seasoning is, just making sure the wood sits out, leaches out some of the tannins, opens up some of the pores a little bit more. So
that's where you learned about tylosis.
No, not really. But I did learn about tylosis a little bit then. Okay. So I started doing a lot of research on barrels. So I learned about.
Tylosis is the word of the day.
Yeah, he's gonna bring that up.
Yeah, so I learned about tylosis.
I'll put it in memory.
So that's 2015. You don't the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative didn't come about until 2020. So you fast forward to 2020, and that's when the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative came out. And I told you about those 3 pillars, and that's when I applied for that. And surprisingly,
okay, what do we?
And we're back.
Well, yeah, I think just the second part of that is like, do you think that initiative affected diversity like industry wide? Like after that program was in place, did you see other programs starting to take place or?
Yeah, it was. Now I can't say that it didn't happen before, but it was the first that I had seen of an initiative such as such. So. I mean, maybe because I was in Brown-Forman and I was in Jack Daniels and not really paying attention to what others were doing. But I know that Jack Daniels and Uncle Nearest, when they came together in 2020, it was the first that I had seen of such in the industry. And so that's when I applied for it because, it was initiated by the company that I was working for. And then, fast forward, then I started seeing other conglomerates, other brands, other companies in the whiskey industry come up with their initiatives, which was cool because Brown-Forman is one of the catalysts. Jack Daniels is one of the catalysts in the whiskey industry. So it was cool to see, the company I'm working for being one of the first, and then the others following suit, or maybe they were doing it, but just making it vocal. So.
And how many of you were selected in that program, at least in your class, or if you will?
So with me, it was 2 of us.
2, okay.
So Uncle Nearest selected a person that's Tracy Franklin, which Tracy is near and dear to my heart. That's my sister.
Shout out to Spirited Tracy.
Yeah, Spirited Tracy. That's my sister.
Mail call.
That's literally Tracy. That's Tracy on Instagram. And so Tracy, she was selected by Uncle Nearest, and I was selected by Jack Daniels. So it was 2 of us internally by Uncle Nearest and Jack Daniels.
Right. What I like about the program, just from what you were explaining, it was, I think what's important was the exposure to the many facets of different areas of the whiskey industry. Like everything from, you said you already had the cooperage part kind of down, but into maturation, right, fermentation, even ringing the bell, like you were saying, like it just being exposed to also different positions. You said CEO as well, right? So all that I found out was to be huge.
Yeah, so the funniest thing, I was asking Camel Brown, one of the Browns who sits on the board, which is a Brown for him. He's a Brown. And I was asking him at dinner one night when I was up there in New York to ring the stock exchange bell. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just have a real candid, open conversation while we're sitting here eating. And I was just joking. I was like, man, what's your favorite movie? He was like, he said, well, Byron, what's yours? And I was like, Cool Hand Luke. And y'all know who Cool Hand Luke is?
Mm-hmm. Paul Newman.
Yeah, Paul Newman. So Paul Newman, and he was like, Byron, I got Paul Newman's number in my phone. So I talk to him all the time. Shut. No, this is real stuff. I'm not making this up. So listen, like I would have never been exposed to stuff like that. I'm like, he's like, no, listen, this is Paul Newman. He comes to my Christmas dinners all the time. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm talking to a board member. I'm sitting across from the CEO. I'm sitting across from the CFO, and I have the CFO numbers in my phone.
Wow.
And we were talking about her upbringing, my upbringing, and how we're big on family and stuff. And I really couldn't believe it. It was like an out of body experience talking to people that you would never get a chance to talk to at the level that some of us come from. And so the program did make my name a household name within the company, which was amazing, and just opening doors that I never thought that I would be able to, to do. So
Nice.
So if you guys ever need salad dressing, this is the guy. The guy who comes
Wow,
to-
for hummus?
Yeah, he calls up Paul Newman.
Oh yeah. No, boiled eggs, man, boiled eggs. Paul Newman is Cool Hand Luke. My son watched it. And he cried a little bit at the end, but don't let him watch. I shouldn't have let him watch it. That was bad. That was legit. Cool Hand Luke is my favorite movie though.
Can you talk about how you found out about the history of Nearest Green and Jack Daniels, and whether or not that inspired you to either apply for the program or anything like that?
Working at the cooperage, because we didn't have visitors, we didn't have tours. What we did, let me take that back. The people that we had come in would sometimes come from larger tours, coming to Jack and be part of our backstage or be part of some of the bartenders. So we didn't have tours where we would talk about history. So we just talk about the cooperage and talk about what went on in the cooperage. Fast forward to being selected. So you're talking about 2015 to 2020. Fast forward to being selected. That's when I delve a little bit deeper. And I knew a little bit about it because I know about the 2016 story, 2017. So I knew a little bit about it, but until I got really selected and for the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative, and then I started doing a lot of research, and then I met the descendants that still work here. 3 of them that were still working. Well, 2 of them still work here. Jerome, Vance, and Jackie. Jackie still works here. Debbie retired. So 3 of them. So 3 of them are still working here.
Right.
And then even in 2020, when we we highlighted this barrel house over here, which is called the George Green Barrel House. What the fuck? Is this real?
We were talking about the legacy, the brothers that are family that's still.
Yeah. So So it's I was talking about 3 descendants that had worked here, and I became pretty close to them: Debbie, Jerome, and Jackie. And then also I was telling you that in 2020 we dedicated the 114 Barrel House to George Green, which was the son of Nathan Nearest Green. And I got a chance to host the family, which was like a family reunion. There was over 200 plus descendants that were kin to Nearest Green here, and it felt like a family reunion, and it felt like I was part of that family, which was pretty cool and emotional, being able to host that family back then in 2020. So when you talk about the history, did I know that much about the history? I did not. It was new to me. Not saying that it was new to the world, but it was new to me when I left the distillery and started doing my own research and started meeting the people, started digging into who Nathan Nearest Green was. So, but you know what? It is beautiful to work here and know that it is real history. And it's not just a figment, or it's not made up. Right. To know that even Jack Daniels is real. So let's even start there. Right. But that stuff seems fake, right? You're like, wait a minute, that's a real person. Jack is a real person. Until you really come to Lynchburg, you're like, wait a minute, there are really people that's connected to Jack Daniels. So let's put that there first, and then to realize that Uncle Nearest is a real person, it's real descendants of him and that I talk to him. Real impact, and still work here, and I still talk to them on a regular basis. Wow. And I got their numbers in my phone. I can call them right now, and that is surreal, but it's real, but it's real. It's real.
I hear you.
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty dope, and I would say, I know you said that it felt like you were family when you were at that family reunion. I'm gonna say, the legacy, you are family.
Continues.
It continues through you, seeing you in here at Jack Daniels in the position that you're in, with all the knowledge you have, with all the experience. It's certainly inspiring, especially for people of color, seeing you and sort of here. Because I can speak for myself. I remember when we first came out to a distillery out in the Midwest. In this case, it was Kentucky. This is our first time in Tennessee. But when we came out, we said we were going out to Kentucky to go to a distillery.
We were nervous.
We were nervous. I didn't know what to expect, right? So, with the understanding of you here, being in a place like this where people don't have any expectations or don't know what to expect, and seeing you certainly break down walls. You certainly create the access, the comfortability, being approachable, and wanting to learn more about it. So, so I'll speak that for myself.
And it also helps to hear the not just the knowledge, because there's a lot of people that can kind of spit off facts, but to hear the passion behind your knowledge, the actual the thirst for that knowledge and understanding how it all works, it definitely makes a big difference. It'll make whatever it is that you are conveying to somebody go from kind of boring to, okay, now I'm interested because I see how much you are interested. I see how much you like all those little factoids that you were dissing out earlier. Yeah. Like it for anybody who is looking or trying to get inspired and just doesn't think about the spirits industry or whiskey in general as a viable place for employment and where they might actually find their passions other than getting drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You are definitely a good display of that.
Oh man, I really, you know what? It is amazing to hear those things, because sometimes you need your cup refilled. And a lot of sometimes you empty your cup, right? You empty your cup always trying to be at the top of your game. You empty your cup trying to bring others along and be that person that always lifts others. But thank y'all for those kind words, because they lift me up. Matter of fact, it gives me some more energy in my back to keep going.
Well, leave it up to a steady pour to pour into you.
That's real.
Yeah, I mean, that's not just that's not platitudes. I mean, we saw it in action today because we did the barrel pick with him. Mm-hmm. So, I've done a lot of barrel picks. I've had a lot of hosts. I've had a lot of people say, this is my style, this is whatever, this is how we're going to do it. But you ran an exceptional barrel pick today. People learned something. Obviously, we had a good time. And then the bait and switch you pulled on the double blind was, no one was ready for that.
He got me good. I was like, I know what it is. He was like, I bet you don't.
I appreciate that too, OJ. It's my way of doing a blind. Mm-hmm. That's a true blind.
Yeah.
Right.
And you won't know, even I have the person that are helping me do it. She was like, "Oh, this way you do it." Oh yeah, and you'll be surprised. Mm-hmm. People tend to go the other way. Mm-hmm. We had two good barrels. Mm-hmm. So when you do a real blind to where you don't know if I just moved them around, when you do a real blind, you sometimes gonna go the other way. And we did, and we selected a great barrel. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody should break it down. What happened? Right. Because that never happens in barrel picks the way he did it. Yeah. So
go ahead.
That was my first time.
Yeah. So basically, we eliminated one barrel. Right. That was the one I think everybody was unanimous on.
Out of three.
Right. 1 out of 3 we said was definitely going out, and we were kind of split between the other two. We did have a majority, but I think when it's that close, sometimes you'll just do a blind just to kind of let's just make sure that we're going to pick the right one, because sometimes you go back in a blind and it might surprise you. Right. So my thought was, every time I've done that, which I haven't done a ton of barrel picks, but the times I've done it, it's been it's a blind put out in a certain way for that second reveal, right? But everybody has the same 2 in the same spots. So the way Byron did it was, I think he switched it individually for each person somehow. I still don't know.
Switched it for some.
I still don't know how he did it. Yeah. But basically, so what we thought was, on the left and on the right, based on what we had tried before, basically was completely off because what one person was tasting was completely different from the next person. So it was truly a blind. And I think it actually ended up making for the best pick because
Right.
you
More
don't know what
honest
you're doing.
opinions.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's unbiased.
Each one of us had our own order. So
Right,
you
yeah.
had AB, you had BA,
Right.
I had AB, you had.
I still don't know who had what, but but we ended up with a good
So then
barrel.
we voted the second time.
Right.
And we looked at the votes, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, it's unanimous number 2, 4 to, it's 4 for number 2 and 1 for number 3. And he was like, no, my friend. That's not what it is. Everyone had their own order,
Yeah.
and so he took them back again and retallied them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was very cool.
I was consistent though. I stayed despite the trigger. I just want to get that out there. I knew which one was which.
You were
Okay.
consistent by nose.
Yes.
At least you said
Yes, by
You
the
had a 50-50 shot. Get at it.
by the nose. Yes. Yes.
But no, that was cool.
No, that was definitely that was the first time that happened with us as well.
Definitely a great experience.
Yeah. So we really picked a dope barrel, and we're looking forward to coming out. You said it's about
3
about
months.
3
Yeah,
months.
about 3 months. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Happy New Year.
Taste, select, repeat. It's
Yeah.
gonna be on there.
It was 18L, December 2018.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
I forgot the proof.
I'll text you the proof.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's
It
in the
is.
20s.
Yeah.
120.
It was 128 point. I don't know the point.
So
but I'll let
near
you know.
130. Cool.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we did ask, well, I remember our tour guide. I forgot the gentleman's name.
John T.
Yes.
John T.
So he made it very clear early on that this isn't bourbon. This is Tennessee whiskey. Can you talk to us why that's important?
The clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to clarify, and I love doing this because when I travel the world, people tend to say that Tennessee whiskey is not bourbon, and they have this disdain or they have this, it's these arguments that kick up. But Tennessee whiskey is a bourbon plus one. Tennessee whiskey is Tennessee whiskey for a reason. And when you think about going back in time when Tennessee whiskey was created, and then even come forward a little bit in time when Tennessee whiskey got its actual title, or 1960s or whatever it was when it said, hey, this is Tennessee whiskey, is detonation or so real quick. Tennessee whiskey, our Tennessee whiskey, Jack Daniels, goes through 10 feet of hard sugar maple charcoal after it comes off the whiskey still. Now, we call that a plus one. We call that making a fine or a Tennessee sipping whiskey, meaning, so if you have Jack Daniels, if you ever tried Jack Daniels, and the grain bill, let's think about this. The grain bill is 80% corn. And how much barley is it, y'all?
12%.
Oh yeah, y'all the class knows. 12% malted barley, 8% rye. And so when you think about distilling that, mashing, fermenting, and distilling that, and you have a high percentage of that is corn, and then we send that through that 10 feet of hard sugar maple, then we're pulling some of those corn oils off. So on that tour that you did, when they sprayed some of that white lightning on your hand, it felt a little bit slippery, right? Mm-hmm. And you rub your hands together and you smell it felt a little bit slippery. Well, that's some of the corn oils in there. That's prior to it going to the 10 feet of sugar maple charcoal.
Okay.
And so think about that. So it's a filter per se, but it's actually pulling and stripping out some of those whiskey, some of those corn oils, not whiskey oils, but corn oils. So that's the difference. So every aspect of bourbon, Jack Daniels meets. Mm-hmm. And I think I told y'all this. So when you think about it, it cannot be distilled over 160 proof. Okay. It cannot go into a barrel over how much? 125. Mm-hmm. It cannot go into a bottle under what? 80 proof. 80, okay. And what does the grain bill have to be? 51% corn. And then rye has to be what?
51% rye.
Yeah, so 51% rye. So when you think about bourbon, Tennessee whiskey meets all the bourbon laws. We just have that extra blessing, we call it, or that extra step, that 10 feet of sugar maple charcoal. So that's it. So you can strip the label off and call it bourbon, because there's some bourbons that we know go through that process and they still call it bourbon. So the argument around the world that no, it's not bourbon, no, and it is a bourbon plus one in our eyes.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference.
I mean, it's definitely.
there's a difference. That's why we got bourbon plus one. I just told you there's a
Bourbon
difference.
people who are like, oh no, it's definitely bourbon. It's like, well, I mean, the laws are created very specifically to say these are the things.
Right.
If you do something extra, in my opinion,
Doesn't mean it's bad.
Oh, no.
Even though it's filtration, if you do something extra, that
You're
makes it
changing the
different.
process.
That doesn't make
Yeah.
It just means it's different.
Yeah, we wanted to be different, right? We wanted to be Tennessee whiskey, but those laws,
Right.
OJ. Listen. No, I'm just saying those laws are the same laws of Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
So it does meet the bourbon standards of laws. I'm telling you, it's the same. It's just pulling out. It meets the laws. It meets the laws, but it's a bourbon plus one. But I like that though, because that makes my job so much fun, and I get a chance to go around and talk about the differences and what makes it Tennessee whiskey, what makes it bourbon. Is it the same? Is it similar? To me, I think it's what goes into making it. The people that go into making it. You guys have been around Jack Daniels. Have y'all seen? There's actually real people walking around here. So it's actually a real process that's going on. So I actually like the banter back and forth. So I got you, OJ. Text me and call me, and we'll talk about it a little bit more on the
I just
side.
think the bourbon people want to put an umbrella on everyone and be like,
Yeah.
This is we're everything.
Yeah, that
It's
part.
like,
Yeah,
no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. When you add extra steps, it's different.
That's it.
And the Kentucky people are the people that really want to argue.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they'll be the first ones to be like, oh, no, by law, it has to be made in Kentucky. No.
And it can
Just has to
be made in all
America.
50 states.
Right.
And Puerto Rico. And what's the other? Yeah. So it can be made in all.
Guam.
Yeah. It can be made in all 50. All
U.S. naval base Germany.
Whiskey out in Guam.
No, it was really dope to actually see that the charcoal filtration, the drip process.
Yeah. That was
Absolutely. Yeah, that was really
I always thought before I came and I saw it that the filtration process was after that. I thought they emptied it out of the barrel and then they did the filtration. That's what I always thought in my mind. So when I came and I saw it, I was like,
Right.
okay,
mind blown.
So
I was wrong.
And some distilleries do that.
So real quick, we have a product or one of our expressions that we do that, right? So you goes through the 10 feet, it matures, and then after that, it goes through that second charcoal filtering process. What is that? Do you know?
Gentleman Jack.
God, no, OJ.
Hey.
Yes,
You know who drinks Gentleman Jack on the rocks in the summertime?
Who?
Me. That's
Let's go. Yeah, so it is Gentleman Jack goes.
That's
through
the
that, so,
double mellowed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right.
Ask about me.
Okay, with Jay.
Okay.
It's not a hobby.
Just make sure you're speaking to the mic when you say.
Oh, sorry. It's not a hobby.
Well,
Gentleman Jack.
Yeah. Well, no, Byron, we really appreciate you hopping on with us.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, coming on the podcast with us while we're out here. To all the staff, shout out to marketing for letting.
Shout out to Pete. Shout out to
Whoever that is.
Yeah. No, this
My
was
sister over there,
Yeah.
my sister.
this was a dope opportunity to be here. The whole experience was great. Definitely want to come back. Definitely want to tell other people to come back.
Yep.
To definitely learn about the history of Jack Daniels. To learn about how they make it, what makes it Tennessee Jack Daniels Tennessee whiskey, and why it's so important. That the storyline that you have is so important. So thank you again.
Oh, hey, look, thank y'all for having me, spending a day with me, per se. Picking a barrel, I think it was amazing. It was fun. One of the best barrel picks I've done. Y'all made it fun for me, so I appreciate y'all.
Despite how quiet we were in the beginning.
We couldn't talk through it after the process.
Well, that concludes this episode Oh.